Coming up right here, Circle Debate Podcast, episode 42, 42. It's a two-part episode. Part one, we'll be going to discussing about this past week, Aew Dynamite. And, of course, someone's getting trolled because somebody got called WWE champion. So, so someone's getting trolled tonight. Sorry, man. You're going to have to be trolled tonight for that. And also, we're going to discuss a little bit pro wrestling news. Part two of our episode, we'll be joined by the American Hero. Right now, he's in class. Part two, we'll be joined by
smart and shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's his class for. Is it?
I have no idea. He didn't say.
He didn't say.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll find out. We're going to question him.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Mike Lopez back on school. And in part two, we'll be discussing our thoughts about NXT TakeOver. This past week, also NXT. And much more, and also breaking down the predictions of the Elimination Chamber coming up this Sunday.
Oh yeah,
so do not go anywhere as episode 42 starts ahorita, right now.
I love Doritos.
Welcome everyone to the Circle Debate Podcast, episode number 42, 42. Hey, we're 42 episodes in, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, it's a lot. But, we're almost at 50 mark. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is the host of Devious One, Ivan C. here alongside with my other hosts, my other family, the familia, the West of the Generation West, courtesy of the Dirty Heels Podcast, calling us that. And shout out to Dirty Heels, Kevin, Kofi, Winston, and Bove, right?
I love that. There's Randy Orton made a tweet that said something like, "This marks the five-year anniversary of me smoking weed for the first time with Snoop Dogg." and then Orton, he replied to his own tweet and goes, "Let me be clear, my first time smoking weed was Snoop Dogg, not my first time smoking weed." And I tagged Kofi in that, being like, "This tweet was custom made for you, homie."
I'll be here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined with the one and only, the director, CK1.
Action.
There you go. Action.
Did I say action? Was I saying action during that? Was I being like a
yes? You did say action.
You could also go on background or sound or.
Yeah. And also,
I do need to get a marker though. Like,
we should have gotten 2 pens or something.
Yeah, boom operator, dude.
Right. Yep. And also,
I already have ideas for the Tarzana Gracie Barra. Like, I want to do a full like Cobra Kai style, dude. Like,
I cannot wait.
I'm already thinking of like more 80s shit to do, man. I'm excited to see if they actually let me. But
okay, I'm pretty sure Jose will let you.
Dude,
but yes, free. I have the Carbonation Carbonone. He is the
Don
Carbonation.
Callis.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Don Callis.
But you spell it like you have a callus on your foot.
You know something, Chris. Other podcasts make podcasts. We make history. We make history here. We could do all kinds of things here at this podcast. And I'll say this to all of you, that the god of pro wrestling, Kenny Omega, is the very best at it. And I'm the very best at it. And and I know too,
And because we're all god amongst insects, right?
We're gods amongst insects, of course.
Let me get my boy Michael Nakazawa back here to carry your luggage.
Yeah, let me get Michael Nakazawa back here to help out with that.
You can win the title.
It's weird. His voice sounds a little bit like mine too. It was like I didn't think I'd get the voice down so perfectly.
I just know the Cyrus the Virus speeches were really good. I mean,
oh yeah.
Ahead of its time, unfortunately.
His self encouragement videos here, just all great for that.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, and also the cutest in the world.
Okay.
Jim Cornette's favorite right there.
That's right.
The very cutest in the world, of course, and she'll the invisible hands working.
I love that
magic.
picture. This picture. That's such a great picture.
Just right behind me. There she is. There's our girl.
That's right. MGC Matthew Steamboat, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's
The
go ahead and
invisible
start
hand.
this off. Let's start this
Sometimes
off.
we forget we're recording.
Let's start this off, gentlemen. It was a lot of weekend of professional wrestling, I'll tell you that. And a lot during this week as well. And a lot upcoming. We did have Impact Surrender that happened this past Saturday. We did have NXT Vengeance Day that happened on Sunday. We did have Raw, which nobody really watches. Tuesday.
Wait, what? Did you just
We had Raw, but nobody really watches. But
Hey.
I do.
You know what? You should watch instead.
I do.
Oh, you know what? I've been saying this in a few other threads. Instead of Raw, watch Tokyo Joshi Pro because the Invisible Hand sponsors that.
That is right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to actually let right now Mr. Don Callis over here. He's going to go ahead and break down what happened this past Monday on AEW, the YouTube channel, on the women's side of the AEW's tournament in Japan. So,
Women's division. Woo! Chris even showing the colors, flying the colors proudly.
that's right. We are Maki Ito Army
There
right
we
here.
go.
Yeah, we are part of the Ito Respect Army.
yeah.
Chris Brooks.
I had to do it.
And
I'm gonna leave that up
so-
for a little while.
I'll break it down for everybody. So Chris Brooks, he's actually Chris Brooks was the former DDT world champion over there, and he's kind of looked at as like the next big gaijin over in Japan. So what they decide to do with them, they decide to create a tag team with him and Maki Ito. So and over on I don't know if anybody watches the Gato Move YouTube channel, the Choco Pro channel, run by Mei Saruga and Emi Sakura over here.
We're
And
in
they,
the tournament, right?
yeah, they run their own YouTube channel based out of Emi Sakura School, at the Choco Pro Arena, of course, which is like a little dojo, and it's very unique because people like do sentons and shooting star presses out of a windowsill in that dojo, and it's absolutely astounding. But of course, gotta stop being Don Callis for a second and return to be a member of the Ito Respect Army. So the women's tournament over on Monday. So we had a bunch of matches, and I'll get to. It wasn't quite a disappointment like you might expect, Ivan. So I'll actually explain why. So Aha Kong and Rin Kadokura. Rin Kadokura is actually a current champion herself. And my God, her entrance theme was amazing. If you guys heard it, it was like her song sounds really good, but she doesn't really need to win the tournament. She's already a champ in her own promotion. It's kind of like the same position Serena Deeb's in. We'll get on that later.
Yeah,
But
that's my territory.
yeah. So Aha Kong, she's a veteran. She headlined the Tokyo Dome in the 90s. So this could be, her Goldberg run, but of course she's way better than that.
Never compare to Goldberg. Hell no, never compare.
Yeah, she's way levels above that. So Aha Kong goes over Rin Kadokura. She advances to the next round. Over to this side, if you could see, Emi Sakura and Veni. Veni, one of the she actually has a history with Nyla Rose over in Japan. It was like a transgender wrestler rivalry. Veni is actually a good friend. She was in a tag team with Hana Kimura, the wrestler who lost her life in 2020, who was on Terrace House. She was a tag team with her, and she wears the kimono given to her by Hana Kimura's mom in her match with Emi Sakura. And of course, Emi Sakura goes over on that match. She's like the all teacher. She's almost like, comparable to the Stu Hart to the Joshis, in a way. She's like they're the godmother, Big Mama, Freddie Mercury, and they were even singing. Even the girls were after the match were singing "We Will Rock You" and doing the during the Emi Sakura set because she's still rocking the King Freddie Mercury gimmick. Mei Saruga and Yuka Sakazaki had a match. So some backstory. Mei Saruga actually has a match with Jazz that's on Eve Riot Girls Wrestling. And that was, I don't even know how to explain that energy. It's like, Jello pudding up against a rock. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
I don't know, but that's the energy wise. But of course, May holds her own. But like it's like Jazz is like staring down May Saruga, and the first thing May Saruga does is like she makes like a cute face to
Right.
Jazz. So her nickname's the Big Apple, and she's known for being really fast and kind of like Colt Cabana. She has like a Swiss Army knife of roll ups. She's like she can just get you when you're not paying attention. She can get that quick pin. But Yuka Sakazaki, she's kind of like the Hiroshi Tanahashi of Tokyo Joshi Pro. She's their ace. She's their champion, And if anything, I would say like Maki Ito's like the Tetsuya Naito to Yuka Sakazaki's Hiroshi Tanahashi.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense how you're putting it. I agree.
Yeah, that kind of dichotomy.
Yeah.
But of course, so since Yuka Sakazaki's the ace, she goes over Mei Suruga, and Mei Suruga looked really great in the match. Both Veni and Mei Suruga looked really great. So all these women, not being a Mr. Everybody gets a trophy, whatever type thing, but they're all very unique and amazing. I think Rin Kadokura is already a champion right now, and she kind of has to be the face of her promotion, so she doesn't need to come to the U.S. just yet. The rest of the girls, I'd love to come and visit a lot sooner. So let's come down to the match that you think I'm disappointed by, but I'm not really.
I just wanted to let everybody know, sorry to cut you off, but I'm like, I messaged Matt personally. I know Matt was pissed when he saw the match. I'm pretty sure he was like, but mad though. He was, instead of screaming,
I'll tell you,
like,
I did do this. I was like immediately after that, I just gave myself a hand shower. I did that hand shower right after. But so Maki Ito, she looked really great in the match. She looked really strong. But I'll say this to Ryo Mizunami. So when I first saw her at Double or Nothing, she didn't really have that much of a gimmick. She was just kind of like athletic and whatever. Now, because in her interview on the Choco Pro show, if you guys should watch that YouTube channel, it's so amazing. They've got a guy, Indian guy, Bakani, I think is his name. Bakani, and he's like he's the English translator and the co-host. He's also part of a tag team with Mei Saruga too, and he's also a student of Emi Sakura. But he's like the translator of that show, and he basically told Ryo Mizunami's story. Ryo Mizunami was going to retire from wrestling before Double or Nothing. She was going to quit, and just on the off chance she got the offer to go to Double or Nothing, it's like, okay, it'll be a nice memory. This will be maybe one of my last matches. And after Double or Nothing, she said, you know what? I'm going to continue doing this. I'm not going to retire. So Ryo Mizunami, she didn't have much of a gimmick, but over at the tournament, she's got a new gimmick. She's funny. She has like a light up Macho Man Randy Savage glasses.
Love that.
She's got like, the iced tea chain. She's like a mix of like a rapper, Randy Savage, and Okada all rolled into one.
Wow.
And she's got those, those water sock finger shoes.
Yeah.
Those toe shoes. She wears those. She's got a fun look. And her nickname, so Anarchy was her nickname that Excalibur was calling her, but Excalibur didn't translate what that word means in Japanese. Anarchy means older brother in Japanese. So that's kind of like, she's tomboy, funny older brother.
Okay.
Now Maki Ito, we're hearing everything about her. She gives the introduction. She performs her theme song, which is Brooklyn the Whole by her old group Link Q or Toki Wokaru. I would never in a million years, I never thought I would hear Jim Cornette talking about a pop group from Fukuoka, Japan. It feels like I'm in another dimension when I hear him talking about that. It's like hearing what's his name, Madden. Like it's like hearing Madden talking about anime and Cheese Whiz or something. But Maki Ito comes to the ring, singing the song, and even Excalibur points out like, yeah, it's very similar to Judas when everybody sings around the Jacksonville Children's Choir, So, Maki Ito, she gives a one hell of a match, throws headbutts. We get the kokeshi is what her iron forehead's called that nobody could resist because it's so hard,
Yeah.
the kokeshi. And, she's got the diving headbutt, Daniel Bryan, Dynamite Kid, Harley Race, Chris Benoit. And now we got Maki
That
Ito.
last one doesn't count. Well, I was going to go with another person. That person also does not count. I'm going to go with Lars Sullivan, but nope.
Who's that guy?
Yeah. It's like we recognize Chris Benoit, but not Lars Sullivan.
No, we recognize neither one of them, sir.
So Maki Ito, she does the Boston Crab. So that's like, I know Chris Jericho would take a shine to that.
We just call it like a sushi crab, or what's like a crab?
Sushi crab. We call it a sushi crab.
Yeah, I don't know what a crab meat sushi name would be.
Yeah, it's crab roll.
I know there's a California roll. Somebody has a California roll.
She has a great bulldog. She's got a great tornado DDT. And then she's got the falling headbutt. Like instead of dropping an elbow, you drop a headbutt instead of a leg drop.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's a cool move.
I love her move set. But sadly she taps because one of the gimmicks that's part of Maki Ito is to be Maki Ito is to live in pain as part of Maki Ito. But just because you lose in a tournament does not mean your face is out of the image. Just because you don't go over in a match doesn't mean you're out of the picture. One of the things I want them to do with Maki Ito, if you're listening, Tony Khan, just let her do video promos until the crowds are about to come back. We saw them do it with Randy Orton when he broke his arm. He made like annoying promos about like, my arm is this much healed and I love Ritz crackers and cookies and blah, blah, blah. Like just videos like that. Put her, like, have her record segments for Being the Elite and just edit those into the Being the Elite episodes. Maybe have her respond to the Dark Order and their offers towards her. Somebody even made some fan art of her in the Dark Order outfit with the octopus and everything, and a purple version of her outfit. So I have a prediction that we're gonna see them a lot sooner than we think. I think Maki Ito might do some type of run-in on a certain somebody. So,
I mean, you heard it here.
Cody Rhodes, open challenge.
Hey, in all seriousness, Chris, Maki Ito does intergender all the time.
Oh, I know. And so, I mean, and AEW has mentioned that they're not exactly opposed to it either.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I love that.
Especially with people who know to work it.
The biggest hint to that is watch the teaser trailer for the upcoming AEW video game. I think it was Cody Rhodes versus like Nyla Rose or something like that.
They also had Hikaru Shida versus Kenny.
That's what it was. Yeah. That was the video game trailer. So like, I mean, maybe they're saying live your fantasy in the video game, but they could very easily make that a real thing.
I'll tell you guys a pretty mind-blowing intergender match that happened with Maki Ito that everyone should check out. Dan Shokodino from DDT. Dan Shokodino versus Maki Ito. And Dan Shokodino, he was in a match with Colt Cabana too. And Dan Shokodino's whole gimmick is that he humps everybody. He dry humps and he dry humps the air. And his finisher is a DDT where he puts your head inside of his trunks.
Oh my!
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah. So he actually had a match with Colt Cabana where everybody was chanting "Bam Bam," no "Boom Boom" with Colt Cabana.
Yeah. Boom,
and then
boom.
Cabana,
yeah,
boom.
And then for Dan Shokodino, they were all chanting "Bim Bam Bam Bam" or "Bim Bim" with him because while he humps the air. So it's like Bam Bam versus Boom Boom, and that went on for like a good 3 minutes of them just like crowd chant battling, But I highly recommend that DDT, Tokyo Joshi Pro. This is the door. You talk about the forbidden door. This is the other big door right here.
And the fact that AEW, and I don't want to give them all the credit in the world, but the fact that they are kind of handing the keys over, and maybe not even handing keys over, loosening the locks and letting everybody else open those doors, letting all the other promotions kind of walk through these doors, and letting the fans who are maybe not as exposed to Eastern wrestling as they are American wrestling.
Agreed.
It's absurd in a good way. It's wow, it took this long to really get a gigantic war going on like this.
Chris,
absolutely.
Ivan, Chris, I've got 2 big people that are going to be coming over. I'm going to share that in the pro wrestling news section.
On the show? They're coming on the show?
Oh yeah, they're right outside. I gotta get better at. But there's two people, and I'm gonna talk about that, and that's gonna be. It's not just going to open the door. It's gonna every eye in the media is gonna be on.
And
AEW.
also we're opening the doors as well as we are also we're on the works, but it's in. I would say I'm not gonna name the name who, but it's in 75% there. We will be having a guest that is from New Japan. So stay tuned on that. So I'm working on that. And I'm not going to names yet, but it's almost in fruition. He is from New Japan. But
we got to study up on that Ivan, how much studying do I have to do for that?
Nah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that out there.
Is Vera going to be a translation issue?
No. He's American, but he's a Japanese from New Japan. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
So yes,
we got Will Ospreay coming in.
I wish not.
Will Ospreay doesn't speak English.
He speaks British.
He speaks he speaks Cockney. It's like we need a translator for Will Ospreay. Oh, mate, you got the lesson, mate. You got Yorkshire pudding, mate.
No.
It's got to be Tom. Thomas really gonna get on like it. Dude, I will be pretty surprised.
Thomas speaks.
No, he's not.
Thomas speaks asshole.
He's New Japan strong style.
I would be very surprised if Jofo doesn't get Tama in quickly.
No.
All right. So,
but yes, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, that we have. I would say more. Matt has been bringing it up for quite some time in the archives. He's been saying that about Maki Ito. He'd been telling people about Maki Ito, and she did make an impressive throughout the states. And then we were all happy that all these Joshi pro wrestlers got to be recognized now in the United States, and a lot more towards the fans. And the beauty about it, that I don't know if you guys caught this, but Excalibur's, and I agree, was Stephen Bryan from SoCalAnswers.com. Shout outs to you, sir. We did have an agreement. Yes, Excalibur was his dream came true, announcing Joshi Pro Wrestling, and he did a phenomenal job from the beginning to the end.
He knew more than me, actually.
He did.
I'll speak on this. I don't want to say I've known Excalibur for a long time, because I haven't, but he's been in my life as a training partner and at one point as a friend. He's obsessed absolutely with strong style. Like him, Super Dragon, like that is almost all that they watch. Obviously, Excalibur watches more than that. He's very well rounded in his intellectualism of the game. But to hear that he knows more than Matt, no offense, is not surprising as far as his obsession goes. So yeah, I mean, look at his character itself. It's basically just a throwback to Great Sasuke. Like it's that style, that strong style, So he's doing, and I can't believe this in a great way, that he's doing exactly what he's always wanted to do.
Exactly.
Besides wrestling, if he couldn't wrestle in these promotions, he's doing the second best thing he could ever do.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, and he did a great job. I loved it from top to bottom, man. He broke that match, each match, and each professional women wrestler, their detailed background, their bio, where they come from. This motherfucker gave me the knowledge as much as I love Matt's knowledge that he's given me, and he's given to our viewers as well. But I love the fact how he made an impressive job. I'm pretty sure he had to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. That's why he did it by himself. He had nobody to do it with him. And he easy, like Kevin Kelly does it as well too. So kudos to Excalibur for doing what he's doing. I can't wait till Monday for the rest.
Despite the looks, don't get it twisted. These girls hit really hard.
Yeah.
According to training. These girls hit hard as fuck. You're gonna have a fat lip and a bruise.
But but definitely, ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye out for that. We will be covering the women's tournament, and Matt obviously will be covering more on the Joshi Pro Wrestling women's side of the tournament. So next Monday will be the other last two that are left on the American side, which is Tay Conti, Nyla Rose, and Britt Baker and Anna Jay. So I'm looking forward to
American. If you're talking American female wrestling, as good as it gets, right there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So just because we know how good the Japanese female wrestlers are, there are equals in America too. So don't.
Oh no.
I know you know that. You know that. We're harping on
once we get to Riho, and Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. AEW Dynamite that will happen this past Wednesday. Of course, they did win in the ratings. You know, they won 741. Actually, no, was it 741? 747. NXT 713. So it wasn't bad. So
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad at all. It's just that this past NXT wasn't the best.
It was a post takeover show.
Yeah, definitely. But let's start off at the beginning. We did
let's do it. Let's go.
Adam Hangman Page teaming up with Matt Hardy versus TH2.
Big money, Matt Hardy. The first time he's ever had a nickname that wasn't like Brother Hardy. What was his? I forget.
Broken Matt.
Yeah,
Broken Brilliance. Broken Brilliance.
Wonderful.
He's
never really had another nickname besides Matt Hardy or Broken Matt Hardy. Now he's Big Money, which is really funny. It's not funny, like it's not amazing or anything like that.
We have the right attributes for it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He won.
And then the aftermath of that, they won in that tag team match. I want to shout out to Clark Street. They actually brought it up to my attention. We did miss out the swipe of the contract. I did not pay attention to that one.
I know. I need to go back. I need to go back last week and watch that.
Yeah.
I did say on the review show. Again, go back and watch it. I did say something like Adam Page was going to have some contractual fuckery back in Matt Hardy. I said something like, "Oh, I was drunk. This contract is void in a court." I knew there was going to be some kind of. I didn't say a switcheroo or anything like that, but I knew there was going to be some kind of thing with the actual document going on. And
exactly.
If you did do that and we didn't see it, I need to go back. I need to watch it because it was beautifully subtle.
Yeah, because you know what? Definitely, we were more focused on like whatever Hardy was saying. We were not focused on Adam. Like I didn't see that switch until they showed the replay.
Yeah, little sleight of hand there going on.
Yeah, he just threw the other contract away and took out his own. Awesome work. I love that he pulled it off. And now he pretty much had Matt signing, okay, on Revolution, you're going to fight me. And
for 100% of the first quarter profits or all of my merchandising. This has to be a rib at Vince McMahon. This has to be where the Brody Lee character left off. Matt Hardy are taking over with the whole Twitch contracts, the fucking him out of the contract. This has to be part 2 of that storyline because I don't think AEW was done giving it to Vince. Yeah. And it's funny if you know, but it's just as funny if you don't know the joke. You don't know the joke, it's still funny. But if you do,
once you find out, you're like, oh
yeah,
it's really funny.
But yeah, definitely. That was an impressive. Now we're gonna see that in Revolution coming up. So I mean, you already broke it down, CK1. So.
But and then the run-ins at the end where
Dark Order.
Isaiah Cassidy was in the mascot, the Jaguars, which Tony Khan owns, so they have a built-in sports team right there in the building at Daly's place, which is Jaguar Arena. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to see the private party thing end with Matt Hardy. I thought there was still going to be something lingering there. They didn't really mention them recently. They had him over on Impact. But they're still connected to Matt Hardy. And this run-in was awesome because then you got the Dark Order coming in to save Adam Page, which reopens that evil Page that I want to see. They don't really know where to put him, but if they put him, as long as they put him somewhere, I'll be pretty excited.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm looking
forward. We're going to have, private party probably with Matt Hardy versus the Dark Order and Adam Page at some point. I know that the Revolution match is a one-on-one thing, correct? That's contract.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think after that, if that's not resolved, they're definitely going to do like a 3 versus 3 of some kind.
Oh yeah. I think it's going to be probably Reynolds and Silver and Page versus Private Party. Private Party and Matt Hardy. So that could be possible.
That would be a good match.
Private Party and Matt Hardy pull up to the after party with the Bacardi.
Here we go. Walk with Elias, Matthew Steamboat, ladies and gentlemen.
That was so good. Shut up. Shut up. Did you just
smoke some of that Bob Marley?
All right.
Okay. I'm not gonna write for that.
Hey, I've got a horse and my name is Charlie.
Right.
Hey, I got a bike. I got a bike and her name is Harley.
It's not funny because I'm not Chris Farley.
Rest in peace, Chris Farley.
Rest in peace.
But I am drinking some Barley's, barley, some beer, brought to you by
Yeah, barley. Yeah.
Yeah, barley. All right.
But yeah, that's about it for that one. That's my thoughts on it. It was very didn't shut any doors. It opened a few more doors that I wanted to see opened. So that's super awesome.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen later on. I mean, they're just still building up, for Revolution. They're still like 2 weeks away. So I mean, it's still we got a lot more to
Anytime. The go home shows next week.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see that final episode.
I can't wait to see it either. I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. But yeah, Mr. Steamboat. Now, I mean, give us your thought about this one, the opening match. How did you like it?
Matt Hardy, turning heel and them being like the new bad guys. I thought that was kind of, that was a nice change of pace. I think it now firmly establishes Dark Order are going to stay baby faces for the time being. Yeah. And now it's kind of like a change of pace. Like you think Supernatural is usually the villain and now this time Matt Hardy and the young party guys, Private Party are now like corporate villains in a way now.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting now because there's less of them. Like the Dark Order has overwhelming numbers, but yet they're kind of the underdog good guys at the same time. So who knows, Matt Hardy could face a swell in numbers just to kind of even it out. Maybe at least 2 more guys in his ranks. We could see certain people returning or joining their faction soon.
Maybe so. I mean, and also that we did not mention that -1 was there too. He ran in there too. Like
he's still kicking, man.
Telling the cavalry, go get him, go get him, go get those motherfuckers. And
still running things. I love that. I'm glad school's out for sort of for now. Like who would have known where this angle would have gone if it were still like active in-person school?
They could go.
The kids living the dream right now.
I know where they could go.
Big time.
Ivan, I know where they could go with this to really make it work, just really go deep with people, is if they make him into like a King Joffrey character, like in Game of Thrones, just a very just spoiled brat. Like he's starting to sell it, but like the worse he gets, like worse in type of evil, just really nasty brat, that just destroys people.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
We haven't really ever seen that.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen like the little kid good guy. We've seen like Nicholas as a tag champion. We've seen, rest his soul, Connor the Crusher. But we've never really seen, and I'm only going to say this politely, a little shithead, and that would be amazing. I would love that. He is kind of that. I mean, he was talking mad smack on Marco Stunt.
Mad smack on Luther too. Like
and Luther.
I mean,
bald weirdo or whatever he calls him.
I mean, look at the character building we were able to do out of Grief, because like Vicky Guerrero coming out of Eddie's loss, they were able to turn her into such a powerful character out of that. Excuse me,
iconic. She's a heat magnet. Like as soon as she's anywhere near the mic, you're just like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And that came out of a situation of grief with the loss of Eddie, and this could we could see the same effect with this, just a great heel coming out of that situation with Brody.
That's a great observation right there. I
love it.
as long as realistically a 9-year-old kid or 10-year-old now, I think can be doing that character, I would love to see it develop into something like exactly that. You know what, Chris? Especially with our society nowadays, kids have more flexibility than they did back then. So just that could be like whenever a storyline kind of reflects what goes on in the real world, that's when it really starts to work well. Like even with Maki Ito, like women have more power nowadays. Women of more varieties have more power nowadays. Kids have more power nowadays. It's not just adult men. That's why we could get such a variety of powerful characters, both villain and hero.
Definitely.
Reflecting the real world.
All right. And then let's go ahead and move on now with the women's side. Let's go see. Oh yeah, Riho, her return back.
She's back.
It has been almost a year, bro.
Yes,
the first ever AEW champion, women's champion, obviously, but gender doesn't matter. Just she was a champion.
I mean,
definitely.
We got Finn Balor's double stomp on the other channel, and we got Riho's double stomp on this channel.
I'm clapping the fact that was an incredible, phenomenal match. I always say that the women, by the last probably 4 years they've been stealing the show. this was a great match. I'm glad to see and remind everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Serena Deeb is not just nobody. This woman is the NWA Women's Champion.
Yep.
Put a hellacious match with Riho. I love the back and forth. I know Jimmy is gonna fucking shit on this on his podcast. Corny's gonna shit on this. You know he is. Guarantee you watch. I guarantee you Corny's gonna shit on it. But but I loved it. I enjoyed
Serena
it.
is a world-class athlete.
And she's become that. That was you've almost seen her since the straight edge society become that under lights and camera.
Yes. This woman deserves to be where she's at right now, and I'm hoping that she gets more in the near and future, and hopefully, we can see her maybe being a double champ, carrying the AEW and the NWA. That'll be something. You never know.
It's
never
her
say never.
Rin Kadokura's counterpart over in the US, and they're mirrors of each other, because the champions within this competition, women who already have belts coming into it,
right?
Proven, and you know what? I before this today earlier, I was watching Masahiro Chono versus Great Muta, and I noticed the similarities in both matches. The near falls towards the end and all the roll ups.
Yeah,
it was the same thing I was seeing with Chono and Muta. Just
amazing.
Pulling that same magic out. You're like, you don't know when it's gonna end. All those bridges.
So what? Yeah, go ahead, man. Break it down. So what do you think about the match, what are your thoughts that Riho made? Advances, and now she is facing Thunder Rosa.
I think this is probably one of my favorite Riho matches. I like this way more than the Nyla Rose ones, because just all those bridges, I've never seen bridges, or I've seen bridges a few times like that, but just because of like the way their bodies are, it's a very different kind of like Riho's small body keeping up all of Serena Deeb's weight, just had me like on the edge of my toes, on the edge of my seat. It's like, no, how is she holding up all of that? How is that little body holding up all of that weight? And she still kicks out. And
she doesn't miss leg day, that's for sure.
Exactly.
you may not see it, but core strength.
Doesn't miss leg day, ab day, shoulder day, all triceps. That's all of that, like in motion.
All of the above.
CK1 human spirit.
The floor is yours on that match. Take it away.
Yeah. Just a showcase of the best of the best. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a former champ and multiple champ versus the current champ of NWA. And it just doesn't, I like that. I've said this before, AEW needs to build the women's division a little bit more, but they're influxing so many people, and they're bringing Rio back, the first champion, inaugural. That's correct, right? It was definitely Rio. I don't even know what question.
Yes.
Huge. I hope she's back. I hope she goes, with the pandemic, it's really hard to go from east to west. But I hope it's a more consistent thing on American television, because she's just an asset to the company and to that roster. Yeah. Build that freaking roster, man. Just build it. We got 20 women coming in from Japan. We got half the bracket from America and other countries. Thunder Rosa's from Mexico. It is just an international all-star roster of female wrestlers.
So take Conti
from
Brazil,
Canada. I know that for a fact. So just keep it coming. Keep it coming. The NXT female roster is fantastic. This has all of the talent to do that as well.
And Impact too. And don't forget Impact.
I'm not thinking they're still doing knockout champs, right? Is that what they still call the female champion?
Yes.
Yeah. And they've got a tag team title, and AEW still doesn't have one yet.
They'll be on the work soon, but
I say crawl before you can run. I'd say get the singles division, maximum capacity before you start trying to double them up. I don't think that's a mistake WWE's main roster did, was they tried to build a women's tag team division, and it kind of just took away from the singles division, and then they tried to balance the two, and it actually killed the tag team division, which is why there's only like 3 tag teams in the main roster. It's balancing, it's building and balancing. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so let's go ahead and now move on with. This match is not much to talk about, to be honest. It was just a squash match. Orange Cassidy Luther was just a squash. Nothing really there at this moment. I know they're waiting for Miro and for Kip Sabian. They're gonna go back to that feud eventually. But this one, there's really nothing much to talk about. I don't know if you guys would have anything to input, but for me, there's really nothing to say.
It's the Miro Kip Sabian angle, the Orange Cassidy thing.
The Orange Cassidy match itself, it was just added. It wasn't.
Yeah, really it's good. It's fine. Yeah, people love Orange Cassidy. It's over. It's definitely mid card for now. The Miro Kip Sabian wedding thing, that is straight out of Vince's mouth. That's not a great It's not. It didn't have a payoff I liked. Chuck Taylor being a young boy butler is what it is. It definitely kind of feels exactly where the Bobby Lashley Lana wedding angle left off at. And
Yes.
he went from one bad wedding angle right into another bad wedding angle. He was supposed to come in and destroy and dominate, and he may be doing that. But what did I call him before? The Dave and Buster's heel, Dave and Buster villain. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not necessarily break up the trio of Penelope and Kip and Miro, but
Miro's got his own how he said
You're not
it.
saying-
Miro needs to do
all said
something. Yeah, Miro needs to do something to establish dominance on his own and not be the enforcer for a very entertaining and annoyingly entertaining couple. I love the Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford as a real life couple are a great fake couple. You know what I'm saying? As far as characters,
No, they're real couples.
No. I know what I'm saying is as their character couple is not who they are as real people. But
okay.
yeah, Miro needs to not maybe break off, but definitely separate in a way and kind of maybe go after like someone of equal skill set. Jake Hager would be great. Brian Cage when that angle's over. Someone that he can definitely look impressive against without having to job them out, like Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy versus Miro. It's a terrible matchup because there's no way in hell, unless there's a fluke win, Orange Cassidy takes that.
Well, let's talk about that now. Now let's just disregard this match. This actually, speaking of Brian Cage, let's jump into that.
Let's do it.
This is what my face looked like. I was like,
the stiffest fucking powerbomb I have seen in a while. Is that what you were about to say?
yes,
Oh
that
my
segment. This was me, like, oh.
I thought
Bro,
he broke him
you're
into.
60?
I thought you ever. What is it? In Terminator, when the T-1000 gets frozen with the liquid nitrogen and Hasta La Vista, baby, and he shoots the T-1000 and he shatters on the floor.
Yes.
I thought Sting was about to erupt into pieces. I was like, oh, he broke a bitch. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, Sting's a tough guy, but he's
62 years old when
years old.
Spinal Tosis took that power bomb.
And he
Like
took,
like if
He
Sting
took
didn't
it like a
us-
champ.
and it wasn't even a jackknife where he lets him go at the top. He
Slammed the shit out of him down.
Yeah.
And he twittered, I powerbomb Sting. But you know what? I'm going to go with George McKay on this because you know what? You know, we did talk about it last week about it. He did mention, you know, about Brian Cage being the one dethroning Omega. This is, you know, he's on the money because right now you're pretty much putting, no pun intended towards Brian Cage. And I do apologize, but you don't have much years in professional wrestling. You know, but
I mean, I've watched I watched him in Lucha Underground.
I'm not disregarding his credentials. I'm not going that way. My thing, in
the public eye, like in the mainstream.
Exactly. That's that's my point.
He's definitely somebody that the fan, like, you know, the hardcore fans knew when he showed up. Like, oh shit, this is awesome. We know Brian Cage. I definitely knew him from Lucha Underground, who had a very similar, dominating career there. But yeah, for the casual or the new to AEW, like Mike may not have known who the Machine was, and that's totally fair.
I knew about him just from Impact mainly because of his feud with Sami Callihan. Just because I was kind of following that and I was curious to what they were up to is when I saw it.
His credentials goes way back from like how Chris said, Lucha Underground,
AAA
as well, and also I mean,
I
seen
mean,
him.
he's been around for
I
sure.
met him I met him personally a couple of times already at bar wrestling.
I think with Sting, I think I know where they're going with Sting because it's gonna be similar to like Brock Lesnar and Hulk Hogan. Because like when I was still like a full on mark, I was like, my God, Brock Lesnar really injured and made Hulk Hogan bleed internally. My God, but I was like, oh yeah, it was a work, you know, but. But I was
it was a work.
I was 11. I wasn't a smart mark, but
that's actually called smark, by the way. That's a word.
Yes, indeed. But I liked when Brian Pillman explained it like back in the day. What's a mark with a high IQ?
I love that, dude. Brian Pillman was the shit.
Yeah, that pro. I used to listen to that promo on
Junior
repeat.
Pop off, man. If they can get Junior in the Gun Club as a dominant television personality, that would be the shit.
But
okay,
also,
but let me get on my apologies.
Sorry, Brian Cage.
Yeah, go for it.
Exposed to the masses. You are correct. Continue.
But yes, just wanted to say about Brian Cage about that, and I did enjoy that. I was really like more shocked about Sting. I was just like, oh, son of a bitch. Looks like he is going to wrestle on Revolution. Everybody thought, and I think all of us thought, I mean, I hate to jump to conclusions, but it was going to be like a cinematic match, something that it would be a less, things to do for Sting. But it looks like I'm hoping we see an in-ring match, since this already proves if he took that power bomb, he's A-OK. Might as well make it a tag match inside the ring.
It's only been a day. Well, when is filming for Dynamite? Actually, I don't think I've ever known that. When did they film they air it Wednesday? Did they film it the day of? The morning of?
No, that's live. It's live.
It is live. Okay, it's only been 24 hours. So has anybody checked on him? Is he okay?
He's doing okay.
All right, cool.
He's absolutely fine.
Awesome, man. Good for Mr. Steve Borden.
Yeah. So I mean, good for Brian Cage on this. So Mackay, if you're watching this, which you are, you're on the money, brother. So,
Sting's wearing back cushions in his coat.
Brian,
totally fine.
Brian Cage.
I'm cool with that. I love that idea.
With this push, I love it. I think Brian Cage, I'm gonna have to, jump on that bandwagon of Cage. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a fan of Cage, and I met him. He's a great performer. I'm glad that they're actually throwing him to Sting, and this is great. Mm-hmm. And I cannot wait to see what the future now holds after this feud is over, and we'll see how the outcome of the feud is.
Revolution.
Yeah,
that street fight.
George freaking nailed it when he said that they are surrounding Cage with veterans to get him up to main event level, getting him comfortable on the mic. We know he's fantastic in the ring. I'm sure he's going to have some in-ring work with Sting, and based on that, Sting is going to basically approve of him being ready for that main event status in the ring, and then Taz is going to be the guy who gives him the green light on the mic.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah, McKay nailed it. There's nothing I can disagree with. A top champion heel or face versus Omega. I mean, either way that goes, it's going to be, fantastic. It's going to be just the next guy to carry the company after Omega leaves or goes to Japan or does something else that's not in AEW. Cage is going to be a company man for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm glad he made the right decision of going to AEW instead of WWE. I'm glad he did do that.
Can you just imagine just EC4? That's all they would do to him. They would just make him the EC3 part 2 and just fail.
EC4.
EC4, my God.
Control your narrative.
Because automatically Vince will see, Vince will be like, oh, damn, Paladin, he's great. I love him. But
I would lose to Retribution on Raw his debut.
Yeah, yep. Like that. Oh, hold on, man.
We both know that they would kill Brian Cage within the blink of a Mustafa Ali.
He's right though. He's right that
Chris, do I have to put the hometown buffet thing?
No, please leave this up. This is a much more attractive background for now.
Oh, but yes, CK1, keep on breaking it down with Brian Cage, man.
That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's I don't think that the timeline is going to. It's going to be a longer timeline than we may think, because the Kenny Omega Moxley thing still is going to last a while. Yeah. We'll get onto that. Yeah. Whether or not that ends at Revolution, it probably will, because we know who's waiting for Moxley after that is going to be Kenta. But where's Omega going to go after that? He's gonna, if he wins, he's gonna keep the title and he's gonna have to defend it. And after Cage beats Sting, I think people are going to respect him as a heel, which kind of turns him face, sort of like the Lance Archer situation, who is an anti-hero. But yeah, I think as soon as Revolution's settled, we're kind of figure out the trajectory of Omega, Moxley, Kenta. I mean, even Archer you could throw in there. But then Cage fits right in there. Yeah. Cage fits perfect. He's already lost to Moxley. But there's MMA math involved. Just because you lost your title to Moxley or a title match to Moxley doesn't mean you can't beat Omega. And that would be a great – I want it to be a clean, no stipulation match. I want it one-on-one wrestling with no fuckery afoot. That would be the match.
All right. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, now he's finished with his class.
Yes.
Now he's done.
Now smarter.
He's now smarter than us. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and introduce this individual. He is a multi-time recording artist, a graduate from Cal State Dominguez Hills. He is a 2018 Los Angeles karaoke champion. He lives 1,977,000 miles from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. He is the master disaster, the king of Sting, the man with the plan, Money, Mike Lopez.
I'm smarter than you, and you know it.
Killing
Check it out.
Killing it.
Oh!
Shit. I hate you that you got that before I did.
Showing the colors.
ProWrestlingTees.com.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes.
Showing the colors.
Mr. Money Mike, we were talking about Sting segment, so that's what we're discussing about what happened.
Nothing notable happened in that segment with Brian Cage.
Nothing. But yeah,
Done. Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, here we go. I mean, my goodness. He took a bump, and not just a bump. He took a power bomb. It looked. I mean, I guess he sold it pretty well. You had that camera up above. That made it look kind of a little awkward to me. But other than that, I mean, I'm glad. Honestly, I'm glad that he got some kind of physicality in, and not just running away or for Team Taz to be running away or anything like that. This is actually going to happen. He's going to be in the ring. He's going to get physical with Team Taz.
They're going to be in the streets. They're fighting in the streets.
Fighting in the
That's
street,
right.
dog.
Of Jacksonville, Florida. That's right. I'm all for it.
All right, MGC, break it down for me, brother.
I'm kind of hoping one of like 3 or 4 things. Sting probably has like maybe some sort of steel in his spine. He was wearing a cushion under that jacket, or a variety of other things. Maybe there's something special about that ring. Because I remember one of the things that went wrong with Davey Boy Smith was that there was a trap door handle that he actually took a bump on, because that was a trap door handle for certain wrestlers to come through. But this could be like the opposite of that. This could be something special going on with that ring that Sting might have taken a bump on. So, we still have that street fight to look forward to and to see how Sting could work his magic. Who knows? Sting could have completely recovered by now, and he just really wants to prove that he still got it.
Just one? Okay.
Yeah. In addition to that, Sting, somebody around the same age, like keep this in mind for people who Sting, like different body conditions, different people are different things at different ages. But keep in mind, one of Sting's biggest longtime rivals that he's wrestled a gajillion times in Japan just won the Pro Wrestling Noah Championship. And we'll give you more details on that later. But the Great Muta, he is not only still wrestling, but he is the current champion of Pro Wrestling Noah. And there's no the Great Muta and Sting, those guys are the same size, the same height, around the same weight. Maybe Muta's a little bit heavier nowadays, but that's just the similarities. Like Muta's still working hardcore matches over in Japan and taking bumps, and he's doing astoundingly. Maybe there's a certain way to do it so you don't get injured. Some older people have a way not to get hurt. Like Chris Jericho has a certain way he works where he hasn't had any major injuries. So
we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out this revolution. We'll find out. Now, in between that segment, now it's time for the troll. We gotta troll somebody on this, but okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Before
you talk. I'm gonna do it. While you're talking, I'm gonna do something.
Sure.
So go ahead.
So before we move on, I know you guys already talked about the women's tournament, and I just want to say one thing. Matt I give all the credit. He was right. Maki Ito is where it's at. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I got it right here. I don't know how to point. Right there
or wherever I'm at.
Yeah, I'm backwards for some reason. If I point right, it shows left. It's all.
I'm actually on top. Yes, my goodness. She is so entertaining. I can only imagine with a full crowd, in AEW, what she could do. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of potential there. And yeah, Matt, an eye for talent. For sure.
And Mike, that's exactly what Matt said. So Matt, tell us what you told them. Or tell them what you told us, right?
Like one of the things, I think it's okay for Maki to lose right now. because I think what they should do with Maki right now is have her make promo videos kind of similar in the vein of Randy Orton, where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm recovering this much, or she could make videos to send to Being the Elite for them to edit in. Like she could record videos in Japan and, you know, cut promos on Thunder Rosa or cut promos on Britt Baker, and then build that up for several months, and then bam, Maki Ito does a run in, and she makes that crowd pop. The second everybody's vaccinated and back at wrestling shows, you know, and this is also big news you guys are going to hear. I think I shared it with you guys. I'm actually getting vaccinated tomorrow afternoon. So this is everything's happening a lot sooner than you'd think. So right now, you know, Maki Ito could build that angle with whoever her rival is in AEW, and bam, she'll come back to that full crowd, and then everybody's going to be singing along. Remember, you know, Ura Tora So, hey!
Like dancing along.
That's what I want everybody to know. Like, I've been posting that on all the videos. It's a Japanese rock song by the Bees that Maki Ito sings after her promos, and there's a cue right after she sings Ura Tora So, and then everybody has to yell hey right after. So that's
yes. But definitely now I wanted to get into this segment because in that segment there was obviously Kenny Omega going to school. I'm sorry, JR. We had to troll you, man. How would the fuck could you mess up calling Kenny Omega the WWE champion? And now you've been trolled for the last 48 hours.
It's fine. Jimmy Ross can do no wrong.
It's okay. I mean, you know, I'm not hating on Jimmy, but he just called him the WWE champion. Even McIntyre had a tag.
I know McIntyre was the first to respond to it.
He was just like, what? I'm not impressed. Him tweeting, like, it's all over social media, ladies and gentlemen. JR accidentally called Kenny Omega the WWE champion.
That's not a spoiler. That's a prediction.
That's not even a spoiler. It's a prediction.
That would be great, man. Kenny and Drew would be a barn burner. I mean, even if that's JR's, you know, vernacular right there. But yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not clowning on JR. I mean, but some people,
of course, man. Some people were his whole life in that company. He's only been in AEW for a year and a half.
Yeah,
it was bound to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's not like screaming out your mistress's name with your wife or something like that. You know.
Yeah, I don't know what you're into, Matt. So maybe you know this is going live eventually. So
you know, especially like when you're playing golf is what I meant, of course. And
yeah, that's it. 4 or 5. I don't know golfing terms.
Circle debate,
ladies
and gentlemen.
That's what it is. But let's move on with that. That was a quick troll. I wanted to troll JR now. We did see the Young Bucks, Santana Ortiz. Great match. I'm not gonna say it was 5 beers like fucking Uncle what's his face and his
seltzer water
and his super sidekick, whatever it start with an A. I can't say it, like asshole. Because I heard him talking about, oh my God, it was so great. No, it wasn't. It was okay. It wasn't the best. I'm sorry. Like, if whoever are AEW fans, I apologize. I am too. I love wrestling, period. But it wasn't the best fucking 5 beers. Oh, yeah. See, Mike with his AEW shirt. But it was a great overall match. We did see the aftermath, the Inner Circle coming in and attacking, you know, the Young Bucks. And then we did see backstage Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers looking on like, what should we do? Just
and of
looking
course
on.
the invisible hand.
Yes,
of course.
your long lost step brother, or I don't know what, but
the super race of aviators.
He's your long lost uncle, but
Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
But yes, I said he pretty much said the Good Brothers to go out right after. They showed up like right after. They were already gone. They were already done beating him up. Where is this going? How further can they go with this? And I get Kofi Winston's frustration about Bullet Club with this type of little situation going on. But I'm going to go with you, CK1. CK1, what the hell's going on with this storyline? Where are they going with this shit?
Kofi's not wrong that it's a little convoluted because you have so many members across so many brands vying for membership or relevance. But right now the focus is essentially the Good Brothers, the Young Bucks. Are they in the Bullet Club with Kenny and Callis? Is Callis in the Bullet Club? Is the Bullet Club even really a thing? Is this the Bullet Club without Tama Tonga? Mm-hmm. So there's just so many weird shifts going on where like, has Kenny even worn a Bullet Club shirt? Is it just the Bucks?
Oh, he has.
Yes,
On
right.
Impact.
Okay. On Impact. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's just weird. I don't know what the end game is. I think one thing that's for sure is we're going to have Good Brothers versus Young Bucks in a title, maybe not for the belts, but champion versus champion match, non-title, but establish who the best tag team is amongst the two divisions.
Right.
That's the only thing that I think is clear. Besides that, maybe the winner that gets a Steamboat Club and the loser goes home. That might help resolve what the hell's going on right now. But that's pretty much all I got. That's my only thing. I mean, unless someone comes in from Bullet Club to challenge Kenny for leadership, they're not building that storyline. They're just doing the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers, which I'm cool with, but I don't like when bands break up. So, it's we're just gonna have to wait and see on this one because I don't know what the end game is. I don't know if we're gonna have a big old NWO reunion or a Wolfpack split. It's just exactly my thoughts, man. I ain't got nothing else. Sorry about it.
All right, Money Mike, what do you feel about this one?
They're not in Bullet Club. I really don't think that they are part of it.
Who is they? Like everybody involved?
Everybody not in New Japan. I feel like they're not officially in it. They were part of it officially at one point, but I don't think that they are. They're just as much in Bullet Club as Finn Balor or AJ Styles at this point, in my opinion. So, different company, and I think Tamatonga is the actual leader right now, isn't he?
Technically, is Jay White. Jay White is technically the leader.
But then, what do you consider who would you say is number one founding member? Who's
Tamatonga's one of them. Finn Balor is one of them.
Yeah.
But the leader is always the heel who has the championship. And Jay White,
Kenny took out AJ for title or for the leadership. AJ was there before Finn was with Finn. It's just
because Jay White beat
official.
And Jay White defeated Kenny in Japan, and Jay White hates Kenny's guts. Kayfabe hates Kenny's guts, and he's the I beat you when I was a rookie, and I could beat you now that I'm at my best.
And I like that.
My Jay White impersonation.
But I really don't think that that's the focus of the storyline. Sure, he came out on Impact wearing a Bullet Club shirt, but the focus is Good Brothers versus Young Bucks. That's what's being teased. I feel like that's the direction that they're gonna go on. And honestly, I feel like they should have kind of taken advantage of the pay-per-view of Revolution to make that happen. I feel like that should have been announced already, or a challenge should have been made.
One more week.
Yeah, so the time's kind of running out on that. But who knows? Maybe it'll happen during this week. But yeah, I think that's the way that they're going.
All right, Mr. Steamboat, Mr. Don Callis, go ahead.
Well, of course, the Invisible Hand has greater plans for everybody.
That's pretty good. That's really creeping me out.
It really sounds like his voice now, doesn't it, Chris?
Kind of sounded like Hank Hill.
Whoa! Well, of course, one thing I'll point out is that the fact that Don Callis was delaying the Good Brothers and for them not to make any physical contact with the Inner Circle. Let's not forget who Don Callis's other best friend is in AEW. It's Chris Jericho, and we could probably. It's a faction that I've dreamt of. Remember, let's look back in the archives of top 5 dream factions, Ivan. My dream faction was the Omega Foundation with Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, and I was thinking Bret Hart, but I remember the other father figure Kenny has is, of course, the Invisible Hand, Don Callis, is what I'll say. And anything's possible, he's a god amongst insects, and but the good as like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it week after week. I want to see Motor City Machine Guns versus FTR, and then I want to see
Party or
just more
Acclaim.
Yeah, just there's more varieties with the division. I'm pretty sure they gotta get that match out of their system, but Kenny here. And Don, I'm pretty sure there might be something with Jericho, Kenny, and Don since they're now all heels,
But All right, so let's move on now with the main event of the evening for AEW's Dynamite, which we did have pretty much John Moxley, Lance Archer, and Ray Phoenix defeating the family, Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and Blade. Great match, by the way. This one I can say that Ray Phoenix always steals the fucking show. He is incredible. He is like my top guy. I mean, I have so many. I'm saying
That's why
again,
he's the AAA champion.
no, he's not.
Was. That's why he was.
Yes, but definitely
He can be again.
Yes, an incredible performance from all these six men. I love it as well. Then after that, we did see the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega coming out attacking Moxley, and then I guess Tony Khan did say this past Tuesday on Impact, the belated Valentine's Day gift for Kenny Omega is to face Moxley at Revolution in a barbed wire exploder match.
Exploding barbed wire death match. Holy New Japan.
The holy FMW.
Yeah,
FMW. Terry Funk versus Atsushi Onita.
This is Onita's world.
In ECW. Do you guys remember? Did you ever? I think this is in New Japan. It was Mick Foley versus Leatherface in the outdoor arena, and they were climbing basically the scoreboard and falling on the barbed wire. Does anybody remember that match besides me? No, it's violent. Do you guys even remember Leatherface? It literally was a guy with a chainsaw. Not Chainsaw Charlie, but...
No, I know who you're talking about. But
it was so brutal. I remember they had to, wire cut barbed wire out of Mick Foley's, face, dude.
Yeah.
And then we also know the first hardcore match between Kenny Omega and Moxley. Moxley had gone on to say that was... And he means... This is a shoot interview. The most pain he had ever been in was in that AEW match versus Moxley the first time around.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
I'm not. I'm telling you this right now because...
No, I'm excited, but I'm worried.
They're breaking down
You
the
feel
barrier.
Compassion, Chris. You feel a lot.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
very...
I'm going to be watching that match, basically,
like Renee. You're going to be like...
Oh, God. Poor Miss Moxley. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
She's not watching that at all.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be at least one of Moxley's pretty much... with bucket list that he's able to check off, because this match, of course,
this might be the give Moxley a year off storyline.
Well, I believe you know what I was going to say that because you're absolutely right. That's why
he's got the baby on the way.
So I love you. Great minds think alike. Because yes, the baby's on the way, and I'm not saying not anytime soon, but this is a time for him to be taking a break. I'm assuming that he might just more focus on New Japan. And also, I mean, remind you also, ladies and gentlemen, which one I know I'm inputting into it, but yes, he's competing tomorrow as well on, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 5. So make sure you watch that on
against Davey Boy Smith Jr.
That's going to be a great match to see. So stay tuned on that. Whew, cannot wait. But also, what I input, also you can watch GSW Global Syndicate Wrestling.
Hell yeah!
You can watch that tomorrow on Fight TV. That's going to be
our
the
good
greatest
friend
card.
Brandon Ascari.
That's right. And tonight, I want to say very quickly, do apologize. Of course, I'm going off subject, but I want to input it. Congratulations to Gio Galvani for winning the first ever GSW Next Gen Championship. We won it tonight last night on YouTube. You can watch it on Global Syndicate Wrestling. You can watch that Battle Royale. And then there was the last two he ended up winning. And that's his first time winning a championship belt. Congratulations, Mr. Giovanni Galvano. Congratulations. Well deserved. And we cannot wait to see you tomorrow on Global Syndicate Wrestling Inception. But yes, moving on. Yes, and then after that, so yeah, like I'm saying, this is the first time we're seeing this in the States. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me, okay, you guys, if you guys watch Wrestling Society X, they've done this kind of before, right? In that promotion, you guys remember that? Something like about explosions, right?
Yeah. I mean, Wrestling Society X is basically just MTV ripping off every other promotion.
Yeah, but did you see how? Yeah, but you saw how with the whole explosion type of shit.
I've seen explosions in Japan, or I've seen firecracker matches. I've seen I think there was one match. It was a giant plank, like a big floorboard of wood that had firecrackers on it, and if you landed on it, it exploded. Just brutal stuff, man. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, go ahead, CK1, take it away. What are your thoughts about this match? the main event,
this has
and then
to
after.
settle it. This has to settle it. I spoke earlier about where Brian Cage is going to fit into this title picture. I think once Sting gives him the green light in their match that he's a main event worker, which is I think that's a test right there. Is I said a minute ago, Mike, that Sting is going to test him in the ring. Taz is going to test him on the mic. He gets a thumbs up from both, and we got a main eventer. After this exploding barbed wire death match between Moxley and Kenny Omega, that feud's got to be over no matter who wins.
Right.
At least for the next generation. Moxley's going to go on and deal with Kenta. Maybe he's going to go on and deal with, the baby on the way. This could be his injury storyline. God willing, he stays safe during this match. And then Kenny Omega goes on to feud with Cage, Cage could easily become a face just by how good he is at being a heel, very similar to the way Lance Archer is, who also is on a timeline to become a main eventer down the line.
Cage was a face when he was facing Sami Callihan. So
yeah, exactly. Cage has always kind of just been like a very anti-hero, like I'm big, I'm mean, I'll mess you up, but you might like me for that reason, and I like that in a guy. It's my kind of guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Aww.
But yeah, I think Revolution is definitely going to be an explosive finale to a lot of these storylines, and that's how I think this storyline ends. And we're gonna get new ones out of the ashes of the wake. The Rey Phoenix will rise out of this, But yeah, that's what I think. I think Omega versus Cage makes all the sense in the world after this, and Moxley and Kenta resolves that, and then Moxley takes a year off or something like that. He's been working his ass off for 10 years straight, man. So it's time to see what happens.
All right. Money Mike, take it away.
Yeah, in the same light that you see Brian Cage, I see Lance Archer, which you mentioned also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That feud would be the shit too.
If they're really long-term booking, then him coming out and having that match or being part of that match with Moxley, Kenta, and Omega, that kind of was maybe even a test to see if that matchup could end up being happening in the future, more sooner than later. We'll see. But yeah, Brian Cage is definitely one of those names that is going to be a future main eventer in AEW. No doubt about that. And
yeah,
also
I think by the end of the year at the latest, for sure.
Right.
In my prediction, my opinion.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I'm curious to see what that means for Team Taz, right? By Luke Cage. Luke Cage.
You've been watching
Netflix Luke Cage.
But Brian Cage, leaving Team Taz, he's gonna walk away with the FTW title, right? Who knows what's gonna happen there? But
Hook and Starks could be a tag team. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe bring Sean Spears in on it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
There could be so many. I don't think Team Taz is going to end. It could just have rotating members. Maybe
Right.
Cage stays in. Maybe Cage holds the title while remaining in Team Taz, and they build a book.
They
What's
bring in
up?
Shaq. They bring in Shaq.
Bring in Shaq. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be Team Taz. That's right.
Has he been? Is it just me, or has he been working on his free throws? Interesting.
Oh my
He's really gonna throw Cody through a giant
I
basketball.
don't want. We skipped that segment, and let's keep it that way.
Yeah, no problem.
To be honest, it was not worth even to talk about that segment because
It was, yeah, no, I don't
It
even.
makes no sense.
I forgot
You know what?
about it until you brought it up, brother.
We don't have a translator for Shakanese, so I wouldn't understand it even if we watched it.
But going back to the match of the exploding barbed wire death match, my goodness, that just sounds like a main event right there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that match. I'm looking forward to it. I'm along with Tony Schiavone in that I've never seen one, so here we go.
All right, he hasn't seen one live in person, but I'm pretty sure he's seen FMW. He has seen the video on YouTube. MGC, break it down to our viewers and audience. I'm pretty sure most of them are familiar with this type of match. But before we bring that up, first also bring about the main event that you enjoyed it, and then the follow-up question with that.
It was a pretty good main event, but it could be better. There wasn't as much of that excitement and heat because it's really hard to top last week. You know, because last week I actually watched that, you know, the Kenta, Lance Archer, and Kenny and Moxley match on repeat. You know, this match, of course, I love Rey Fenix. Eddie, I guess he's more of like, well, I like him better one-on-one with the emotions and the storyline. I'm not
He's
as big
so
on
good on the mic. God damn it.
yeah. I'm not as big
Brian
on
Cage spent 6 months, or not even 6 months, 6 weeks at the Eddie Kingston School of how to shoot on the mic.
Eddie. I think the only thing is like I don't like Eddie in team things as much as I love him in one-on-one, because one-on-one he builds the rivalry, he builds a story. You feel his anger, or you feel his antagonism. You feel he's antagonizing you, or you antagonizing him, and so on and so forth. But when he's in like a group, I don't feel that enough, because it feels like, you know, you diluted in fact I'd kind of wish like Eddie was like a lone wolf just having to fight against the whole world, you know, kind of thing, you know, him being as like a gang leaders. I mean that's kind of cool, but you know.
Yeah, actually, I mean they didn't know what to do. I mean I don't want to say they didn't know what to do with him, but the whole kind of being the leader of Death Triangle for a little while, and that breaking up and then reuniting, and then now he's over with the Butcher and the Blade. It's kind of like moving him around a little too much, or at least swapping in I guess I call it the family around. Like, I don't know where the end result is going to be, if he's going to be the leader of the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny, or like, is he going to, like, you know, it's like the placement's just weird. It's just almost forced.
Honestly, I'd like to see him to be with Moxley as a tag team. That'd be dope.
They have a history.
That's the thing. That was a thing for a while, right?
CZW.
That was back Combat Zone Wrestling and another independent promotions. But think about if they were to do that again, like one last run, okay, that'll be hella dope, because you got two of the greatest talkers in the mics. And you got two of the greatest in-ring performers in their own different style. Brawlers mixed up with, you know, any type of style professional wrestling. These two men could actually take over the tag team division of AEW if they want to, or go to Impact. They could literally just bust balls. Like, I'm going to come in here and take that fucking title from you. Give me that.
Can you imagine Eddie Kingston and
Moxley,
John Moxley versus the Good Brothers?
That'd be
in like a hardcore match.
I love it,
man.
Oh my god,
that'd be like the Eliminators versus RVD and Sabu.
You know, so
I fucking love you, man.
Eliminators are like my top 5 favorite tag team, bro.
Yeah. So so me getting to this match, when Moxley debuted, I was very excited and happy. You know, I was there at Double or Nothing. I felt the energy and everything like that. Throughout the pandemic and Moxley's long title run, I kind of, you know, I wouldn't say sick of him, but it's like eating the same food every day, more or less. I've kind of had a bit of enough of Moxley. I know he's not champion anymore, but like, I thought the Omega Moxley feud was over, but I guess they need like one final ride on the trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I think this is. I think this is like the big bang.
Yeah,
I guess barbed wire.
I just like I don't know I don't think you guys agree with me on this though, but I kind of wish that the final ride on the trilogy wasn't at Revolution. I kind of wish Kenny had a different opponent for Revolution. I love this match. I'm just not that crazy about Moxley being in it, because I felt like I've seen enough of him personally. But you know, but as for the history of this match, there's a reason. You know, especially I want Mike to see this. Atsushi Onita is right behind me in this picture. And this is him when he worked for DDT very recently. And look who's right next to, like, Atsushi Onita was in a match with Terry Funk. But look who's standing right between Atsushi Onita and Chris Brooks.
Maki Ito!
Here we go.
And she's holding she's holding Atsushi Onita's barbed wire baseball bat, like of all people, you know. But Atsushi Onita and Terry Funk, and I actually picked that Onita to be either my number 2 or number 1 for hardcore wrestlers, just because of the insane matches that he brought to in Japan. Another person who faced Atsushi Onita would be Dr. Luther, of course. You know, those who don't really know his history over in Japan, he's faced Onita over there.
Oh yeah.
So I actually think Onita, like, one thing I kind of wish AEW did a little bit more of, would kind of make things a little bit spicier and fun in the storyline, is special referees. Because I kind of like how, like, Ken Shamrock was the referee for Stone Cold, and, you know, Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
Yeah, WrestleMania 13. Let's do it.
So I'm thinking Dr. Luther would be kind of a good referee for Moxley and Omega.
It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't not make sense. I get your point though, but I will have Onita though to come by.
Fly him in from Japan.
Why not?
Or Terry Funk maybe.
No, well, you know what? You brought up a good point there because we had Dory on AEW.
Oh, they meant Terry Boy.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, because we did see Dory Funk on
in the audience, his
brother. So you know what? You're right. Maybe him. Or what about? Don't be surprised to bring in Mick Foley to be the guest referee for that.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised.
The Legends deal allows you to work anywhere. It doesn't just because you're a WWE legend doesn't mean you're really exclusive. You know, you have more because Bret Hart showed up on Double or Nothing.
He presented the AEW World Champion. So
and they were trying to. The original one was Ric Flair. Hell, even you know, so you know,
they won't give up Ric Flair, man.
If he's too tired, you know, he's already in a storyline WWE.
I don't want to talk about that.
He's got a baby on the way with.
It's not happening. No, that's not true. That doesn't exist, Chris. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wake up, Matt. It's happening.
It's reality.
I'm going back to sleep, you guys.
There's a daddy-daughter angle going on the main roster.
I'm not woke. Let's talk about Onita more.
Yeah.
But Onita, you know, that's definitely a match everybody should watch. Terry Funk versus Onita in Japan. And it's an outdoor match to keep you guys, so it has a whole different atmosphere to it. It's, you know, you could look at the stars as you're bleeding cut up with barbed wire. So
that is right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in part 1. Part 2, we'll be discussing about WWE. That's why I had to bring out Skull, man, because I got something to debate with, and that's especially with Brother Bova, what he said. So I promised him that I was going to mention it on part 2. So on part 2, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be discussing pro wrestling news, and I will be discussing with Money Mike about TakeOver Vengeance. We will talk about NXT this past week NXT, and we'll go give our predictions of this Sunday's Elimination Chamber. Now, before we let you go, we've promised everyone that our part 2 of our commercial will be released right now after the ending of part 1, and again will be repeated in part 2. So hopefully you guys enjoy this part 2 from the director,
our own the Mad Lab, Mike Lopez,
the director.
I wish I could take the
commercial, man.
I wish I could take the credit, but it was actually Ivan's idea.
You came up with that like on the spot, I think, almost.
Wait, what happened? What?
I think Mike came up with that script on the spot. I don't know if you were thinking about it on the way over, but I'm just glad you did it.
Okay, I was inspired by the great Devious One, Ivan C. He actually provided the inspiration for that. So much credit to Mr. Ivan, you know. So there you go.
It's much credit for everyone, man.
Group effort for sure.
It's a teamwork. I'm just here knowing. I give just credit for everyone to be involved with it. I give credit for the director. I give credit for the actors.
You're an invaluable asset.
Thank you, Matt, for
yes.
No, but for real though, like when we can do it Spanish and I don't know how many languages you speak. Matt, do you speak like 5 languages or what's?
Yeah, maybe soon. Hopefully, that's gonna be.
You're getting up there, I think, for sure. But yeah,
he's getting up there. He's getting up there. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. CK1 will not be joining us in part 2. He will have to, depart himself. So he's gonna go ahead and exit himself and let the people know what we coming on. I mean, he'll be coming on next week.
Yeah, so, man, we got a lot of stuff coming next week.
We got a lot of surprise.
I don't know what any of it is. We find out the Monday that week.
He'll find out. He'll find out.
I'm not really Matthew. I'm.
Oh my God, no. But yes,
the invisible hand, Don Callis.
We will have a lot
away from Face Off.
I'm Nicolas Cage.
We
I'm
will have
Volta, staying alive.
But we will have a lot more content coming to you for next month in March. We do have a lot coming up, so we will give further announcements. Stay tuned. Keep an eye on our social media, but don't go anywhere. Part 2 will start right after this part 1. So enjoy the second commercial of the Wrestling Guy Store.
Recorded in front of a live studio audience in Los Angeles, California.
Dude, check this out, man. Look at this.
Whoa, dude, check what I got.
What?
Man, we're wrestling guys, and at the Wrestling Guys store, you can be too.
The Wrestling Guy Store, located at 6085 State Street, Huntington Park, California, is 5 miles west of the Commerce Casino.